The distress signal the Empire's outer sector was quiet that night. The stars shining like tiny fires in the endless dark. Commander Alaric stood at the control deck, staring at the blinking lights on the radar. Suddenly, an alert flashed red. Across the main console, unknown vessel, detected no data, no origin. The voice of the AI repeated, calm but urgent. Alaric's heart skipped a beat. Something like this had never happened before. He tapped the console with quick fingers, trying to understand what the sensors were showing. The ship's screens filled with strange readings, a vessel moving faster than anything the Empire had ever built. No signature, no propulsion pattern, the science officer whispered, her eyes wide. Alaric leaned closer, trying to see some clue, any clue, that could explain this anomaly. But the readings were confusing. The ship's speed seemed impossible, and its path unpredictable. The communications officer tried to send a signal. This is Commander Alaric, of the Imperial Fleet. Identify yourself. There was nothing, no response. Only silence that made the deck feel colder. Alaric frowned. It's not responding. It's like it's alive, he muttered under his breath. The crew exchanged nervous glances. No one had ever faced a ship like this. Suddenly, the vessel appeared on the main screen, a dark shape against the stars, massive and unknown. Its surface reflected no light, as if it swallowed the stars around it. The sensors went haywire, alarms began to beep, and the ship shook slightly as if sensing their fear. Alaric straightened. All systems, track it, keep it on every sensor, don't lose it, he commanded. His voice steady though his mind raced. The science officer typed furiously, trying to understand its speed. Commander, it's accelerating. Faster than our fastest interceptors, she said, her voice tight with worry. Alaric's jaw tightened. How is that possible? Nothing moves like that, he whispered. The communications officer tried again, sending coded messages, but the vessel ignored every signal. Then, without warning, the unknown ship changed direction, moving closer to the Empire's core worlds. The deck shook as if a warning passed through the hull. The lights flickered, and a deep hum filled the room. No one spoke for a moment, the silence heavier than any alarm. Alaric swallowed hard. This isn't just a ship, it's something else. Something dangerous, he said, staring at the screen. The AI analyzed patterns. Trajectory indicates it could reach the central systems within hours if it maintained speed. The officers exchanged alarmed looks, fear mixing with curiosity. The youngest officer, barely 20, whispered, "Sir, what do we do if it's hostile?" Alaric looked at the blinking red dot on the radar, the unknown vessel closing in. He knew the Empire had never faced an enemy like this. Something with no past, no name, and no weakness. The ship's shape on the screen twisted slightly, almost like it was watching them. Alaric clenched his fists. Prepare all defenses. Keep tracking it, and get me the council. Now, he said, his voice firm, though his stomach churned with unease. The crew moved quickly, tension filling the room, every second stretching into minutes. Outside, the stars continued to shine. Unaware of the danger hurtling toward the heart of the Empire, and somewhere deep in space, the unknown vessel waited, silent, unstoppable, and too fast for anyone to catch. The mystery deepens. The unknown vessel vanished as suddenly as it appeared, leaving the Empire's fleet in stunned silence. Alaric rubbed his eyes, staring at the empty space on the main screen. Where did it go? The communications officer whispered, her voice trembling. The science officer shook her head. It's not just fast, Commander. It can manipulate space around it, like it's bending reality. Alaric frowned, trying to understand, but nothing made sense. The sensors had no record of how the vessel moved, no energy signature, no heat, no mass reading. It was as if the ship existed and didn't exist at the same time. The AI beeped urgently. New readings detected. Object reappearing near the outer rim of the Delta system. Alaric leaned forward, heart pounding. "Show me," he said. On the screen, the vessel appeared again, closer than before, moving in a pattern no one could predict. The crew exchanged nervous glances, the tension in the room almost unbearable. "Commander, it's reacting to us," the science officer said, pointing at the screens. Every time the fleet adjusted course, the vessel changed direction, keeping just out of reach. Alaric swallowed hard. "It's playing with us," he muttered, a chill running down his spine. The communications officer tried again, sending encrypted signals. "This is the Empire," Identify yourself or leave our space immediately. Nothing happened, no response, only the eerie hum of the vessel's energy field. Maybe it doesn't speak like we do, Alaric said, his voice low. Or maybe it doesn't care to communicate at all, the science officer added. Outside the ship, space remained calm, stars twinkling as if nothing dangerous approached. But inside, every officer felt the weight of an unknown intelligence watching. Waiting, Alaric called for a council of the senior officers. We need a plan before it reaches our inner systems, he said. The room filled with voices, ideas, and fear, but nothing concrete could be decided. Some officers argued for attack, others for retreat, and some for observation. No one knew the vessel's strength or intention, and each suggestion felt like a gamble. Meanwhile, the vessel moved again, closer, to a mining colony on the edge of the system. Alaric's stomach tightened. If it attacks a civilian outpost, it would be too late to stop it, he warned. The officers fell silent, imagining the destruction it could cause. Suddenly, the vessel released a pulse of energy, invisible but powerful. Ships nearby shuddered, alarms blared, and power systems fluctuated. Status report, Alaric shouted as his crew scrambled to stabilize the ship. Minor systems failing, communications disrupted, shields fluctuating. The engineers cried. Alaric gritted his teeth. It's testing us. Testing our reaction, he said. The AI added. The pulse was targeted. Commander, the vessel is learning from us. Fear rippled through the crew. But Alaric forced himself to stay calm. We cannot attack blindly. We cannot retreat in fear. We observe, we learn, and we prepare, he commanded. The vessel hovered silently for a moment, then moved again, faster than any fleet could chase, leaving a trail of unease and unanswered questions in its wake. Alaric stared at the dark shape disappearing into the distance. Whatever it is, it's intelligent, it's powerful, and it's not leaving anytime soon, he said. The crew worked tirelessly, tracking every movement, analyzing every anomaly. But the more they learned, the more the mystery deepened, and somewhere, in the cold darkness of space, the unknown vessel continued its journey. Watching, waiting, and testing, the unknown vessel moved closer to the Empire's inner systems. Faster than any fleet could intercept, Alaric stood on the control deck, eyes glued to the main screen. This is getting dangerous, he muttered, his fingers tapping nervously on the console. The sensors detected something new, a low pulse of energy radiating from the vessel. It was faint, but enough to affect nearby ships. Alarms began to blare as small vessels lost power and drifted uncontrollably. The crew scrambled to stabilize the systems, sweat forming on their brows, shields fluctuating across the fleet. The engineer shouted, running between consoles. The communications officer tried once more to contact the vessel. This is Commander Alaric. You are entering restricted space. Identify yourself. Nothing, only the strange hum, low and deep, vibrating through the hull. Alaric's mind raced. It's not just a ship. It's testing us, learning from us. He motioned to the weapons officer. Prepare all defensive systems, but hold fire unless I give the order. The weapons officer nodded, fingers hovering over the control panel, tense and ready. Meanwhile, a scouting ship was sent closer, moving cautiously toward the dark shape on the screen. The AI calculated probabilities, caution advised. Vessel reaction unpredictable. Interception could result in immediate loss. Alaric clenched his jaw. We have no choice. We must understand it before it reaches the inner planets. The scouting ship approached, scanning the vessel from all angles. Suddenly, a bright pulse erupted from the unknown ship, invisible to the eye but powerful enough to disable the scout's engines. The vessel hovered, almost like it was observing the crippled ship. Report, Alaric shouted, his voice sharp. Scout disabled. Engines offline. Minor structural damage. No life signs confirmed yet, the officer stammered. The deck fell silent. The weight of the unknown pressing down on everyone. Alaric stared at the vessel, dark and silent, and for a moment felt like he was looking straight at him. The AI analyzed patterns. Pulse frequency matches no known technology. Likely intelligent control. Alaric's stomach tightened. It's alive. Or thinking, he whispered. Suddenly, a strange symbol appeared on the main screen, glowing faintly against the black surface of the vessel. The communications officer froze. Commander, it's sending a message. Or a warning. Alaric studied it. We don't understand it. But it's definitely deliberate. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. tension crackling like electricity in the room. Alaric knew this was no ordinary encounter, no ordinary enemy. The vessel pulsed again, closer now. Moving with impossible speed, it seemed to anticipate every maneuver the fleet made, slipping past defenses effortlessly. Alaric gritted his teeth. Prepare for evasive maneuvers, keep trekking, and do not provoke it, the young officer whispered. Sir, what if it attacks us? Alaric's eyes narrowed. Then we survive, learn, and fight back. But first, we understand it. The unknown vessel hovered for a moment, almost as if considering him, then it vanished again, leaving behind silence, tension, and the faint echo of its mysterious pulse. Alaric stood alone on the deck, staring at the empty space, knowing one thing clearly: this was only the beginning. Secrets revealed. Unknown vessel had vanished once more, leaving the Empire's fleet on edge. Alaric sat in the command chair, staring at the empty space where it had been. He felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity, a deep need to understand what they were facing. The science officer approached, cautiously, carrying a small device that scanned for unusual energy traces. This energy signature, it doesn't match anything in our records, she said, her voice low. Alaric leaned forward. Could it be from the lost civilizations mentioned in the old archives? The officer nodded. It's possible, Commander. Some legends spoke of ships that could move faster than light, controlled by intelligence beyond human understanding. Alaric frowned, thinking of the legends his grandfather had told him as a boy. Stories of civilizations that vanished without a trace, leaving behind only mysterious technology. The communications officer added, I tried decoding the symbol it sent. No language we know matches it. Alaric studied the flickering image on the screen, glowing faintly in the dark room. It's deliberate. Someone or something wants to be understood, or is testing us, he said. Outside, the stars were calm, but inside the fleet, tension had reached its peak. The AI beeped urgently. Commander, the vessel is moving again. It is following a trajectory toward the inner colonies. Alaric's eyes narrowed. It's choosing its path. It's not random, he muttered. The crew exchanged nervous glances, realizing this ship was not just an enemy. He had purpose, intelligence, and perhaps even consciousness. Alaric called for a private briefing with his senior officers. We need to understand its purpose before it reaches a population center, he said. The council gathered, whispering theories and fears, none certain of the truth. Some believed it was a warning from a forgotten civilization. Others feared it was a weapon sent to destroy them. The science officer spoke up. If we can decipher the patterns in its movement, we might predict its next target. Alaric nodded. Do it. Every second counts. Meanwhile, the young officer who had first spotted the vessel spoke hesitantly. Sir, what if it's following someone, like it knows us personally? The room went silent, each person imagining what that could mean. Alaric felt a chill, realizing the truth was far stranger than any legend or warning. Suddenly, the vessel appeared on the main screen, stationary, silent, and imposing. A strange vibration filled the deck, subtle but powerful, almost like it. Whilst communicating without words, Alaric leaned closer. It wants us to notice something we've overlooked. The science officer adjusted the scanners, revealing a faint energy trail within the vessel's hull. Commander, these patterns, they resemble the trajectory of ancient explorers, lost to history. She whispered. Alaric's mind raced, connecting fragments of knowledge. Could it be a messenger from a civilization older than the Empire itself? The council watched in awe, realizing that the unknown vessel might hold secrets to power, knowledge, or survival. And somewhere deep within the ship, an intelligence watched back, waiting for the humans to understand before revealing more. Alaric straightened in his chair, a grim determination in his eyes. We are not just observers, we are participants now. We must learn, and we must prepare, he said. The vessel pulsed faintly, as if acknowledging his words. Outside the windows, the stars continued their silent dance, hiding countless mysteries, and for the first time, the crew understood the truth. This encounter was not random, it was deliberate. The unknown vessel had a secret to reveal, and the Empire was about to face questions far beyond their understanding. The unknown vessel had moved closer to the Empire's central systems, faster than anyone could track. Alaric stood on the command deck, eyes fixed on the main screen, tension knotting his stomach. This is no longer just a test, he said, his voice low but firm. The communications officer stared at him, fear in her eyes. Sir, it's affecting the planetary systems. Power fluctuations, gravity anomalies. Even orbital paths are changing. Alaric clenched his fists. We are on the edge of disaster. Prepare all fleets. Warn the colonies. Outside, the stars seemed calm, but the Empire's worlds were trembling under the invisible force of the vessel. Messages poured in from governors and military commanders, panic spreading like wildfire. Alaric watched as minor planets' defenses failed. Satellites went offline, and supply lines collapsed. The vessel's presence was subtle, yet devastating. Like a shadow-bending reality itself, the council was called immediately, a room filled with fear and shouting. Some officers demanded a direct attack, others urged evacuation. No, Alaric shouted, silencing the room. We cannot attack blindly. We do not know its power, and we may provoke a catastrophe. The science officer added, we have data now from the inner colonies. The vessel seems to test our responses, learn from our strategies, and adapt. Alaric nodded. Then we must be smarter. We must anticipate, not react. Meanwhile, the young officer who had first noticed the vessel spoke hesitantly. Sir, what if it wants something from us? What if it's not just destruction? Alaric's eyes narrowed. Then we find out before it's too late, he said, determination in his tone. Suddenly, a pulse from the vessel spread across the sector, knocking out communication grids and defense satellites. Ships shuddered violently, alarms blared, and the fleet struggled to regain control. The AI warned urgently, Commander, the vessel is directly influencing planetary systems. The evacuation advised for non-essential personnel. Alaric's jaw tightened. We cannot abandon our people. Focus on protection. Keep all civilians safe. The crew worked tirelessly, rerouting power, stabilizing orbits, and maintaining shields wherever possible. But the vessel continued its silent assault, moving unpredictably and testing every system. The Empire was in chaos, fear spreading through every world. Every officer, every citizen. Alaric stared at the dark shape on the screen, enormous and silent. This is bigger than anything we faced, he whispered, almost to himself. The communications officer suddenly pointed at the screen. Sir, it's above the capital world. It stopped. For now, the council fell silent, realizing the weight of what had happened. Every system in the sector was compromised, yet no attack had been made. Alaric leaned forward, voice steady despite the storm around him. It's waiting, watching, testing us. We must be ready for whatever comes next. The fleet braced for what could happen, tension so thick it felt like a living thing. Outside, the unknown vessel hovered, dark and silent, above the heart of the Empire, and the humans knew, with a mix of fear and awe, that the next moments could decide the fate of everything. The unknown vessel hovered silently above the Empire's capital, casting a shadow that stretched across cities and oceans. Alaric stood on the command deck, staring at the screen, heart pounding. This is it, he whispered, a mix of fear and anticipation in his voice. The council gathered around him, tense, waiting for a sign, any sign of what the vessel intended. The AI analyzed every signal, every pulse, but could offer no answers. This is beyond any technology we know, it said, its voice calm yet uneasy. Suddenly, the vessel pulsed, sending a wave of energy that illuminated the skies. Power grids flickered, shields stabilized, and every sensor hummed with data the fleet could barely understand. The communications officer pointed at the screen. Sir, it's sending another symbol, bigger this time, almost like a message. Alaric leaned closer, studying the glowing figure, recognizing shapes and patterns from ancient records, the lost civilization. It's connected to them, he said, voice trembling. The science officer added, the pattern suggests intelligence, purpose, maybe a warning or a test. Outside, the cities trembled slightly under the energy pulse, and the citizens looked up in awe and fear. Then a deep, resonating tone filled the command deck, vibrating through every metal surface. The AI interpreted fragments, message, warning, approaching threat beyond the known galaxy. Alaric's eyes widened. It's not just testing us, it's preparing us. The young officer who first noticed the vessel whispered, Sir, is it helping us? Alaric didn't answer. Immediately, his mind racing through possibilities, the vessel pulsed once more, then released a holographic projection, vast and faintly glowing, shapes of unknown star systems, strange creatures, and enormous ships filled the view. The Council gasped, realizing this intelligence had knowledge far beyond the Empire's reach. Suddenly, the projection shifted, showing a path through the galaxy, pointing toward a distant, dark region. The science officer gasped. It's guiding us, or warning us. Something waits there. Alaric clenched his fists, determination blazing in his eyes. We must follow, we must understand, and we must survive. The vessel hovered a final moment, pulsing gently, then vanished as if it had never been there. Silence fell across the capital, broken only by the hum of the fleet's engines. The Council looked to Alaric, knowing that the Empire had changed forever. The unknown vessel had